Welcome back, East Texas. The time is here again. We are locked and loaded and ready to give you a preview of what to expect from the upcoming Texas high school football Friday night games. I'm Trevor Pill, and giving you some knowledge today is Chris Perry and Travis Yosting, two incredible sports writers. We have a lot to bring you today, including highlights, interviews from last week, and also our opinion on how these week's games will pan out. Sit back and relax and enjoy the ETFinalScore's.com preview show. Last week we talked about how Chapel Hill has put together a very strong non-district schedule. They faced Tatum last week, a very good team. Tatum was marching the field late in the game when Braylon Franklin from Chapel Hill intercepted the pass and took it to the end zone for a pick six and ultimately the winning score. Our Bill Campbell caught up with Coach Sitton of the Bulldogs after the game.
Hey, East Texas, Bill Campbell here with Chapel Hill Bulldog coach Thomas Sitton. Coach Sitton, great win tonight, really a great ball game. I got to ask, first half, second half, two completely different ball games. What did you say to your kids, and what kind of adjustments did you make to turn that game around?
I'm just so proud of our kids. The heart that they showed tonight. Playing a full 48 minutes, fighting through some adversity. When earlier in the year at times we've kind of laid down, and just extremely happy with them as far as their toughness, their fight for each other, and working every down, playing for each other.
Well, it sure looked like a team effort. It seemed like everybody, flags everywhere. What about the penalties? I mean, as a coach over there, are you just about to pull your hair out or what?
It's very frustrating. You try to play the cleanest game that you can. You go in. But like I said, I'm just so proud of our kids' effort. I'm proud of their ability to come together and not get down when some things hit us in that football game, and just kept on fighting for each other. They're a fun group to coach.
So last week, kind of like you mentioned earlier, maybe not the way you would have liked it to happen, but now a big win tonight, and you guys headed into a bye week. How big is that?
Hey, it's great. These first 5 games throughout non-district, it wouldn't have mattered if we were 5-0 or 0-5, but it is nice to have some momentum going into next week. We've got to get a whole lot better next week, and then go into that first district ball game ready to go.
All right, Coach. Thanks again for your time. Congratulations.
You bet.
Now, guys, Coach Sitton talked about how they got a little momentum rolling on after they got a big win over Tatum. Now, getting that close win like that and going into a bye week, does that build some type of emotion and momentum going into their district play?
You always want to go into a bye week off the win. It's a better atmosphere, better team attitude going into that bye week. You get a lot more done, I think, and really it'll be a great way for them to head into district play.
Now, Chris, do you think that Chapel Hill is looking like the strong leader of their district?
Well, they've definitely played the teams that they needed to play to get to where they want to go. And I know that's coach speak, but seriously, that's kind of what they've been doing. And that's why they played as difficult a schedule as they could to get them ready for the district, because their district's not going to be easy. It never is. But that was a really, really big win against Tatum, because Tatum's a team, they don't take a back seat to anybody. So, I mean, that was pretty good. That was a pretty good victory by Chapel Hill.
Now, did either one of you expect for Chapel Hill to come out on top against Tatum?
Yeah, I mean, I picked them. They've beaten every team that is of their size or smaller, and I kind of think that they can keep that going. The question will be whether they can do that all the way through district, because that is a tough district.
Yeah, we both picked them because at home, coming off the victory against Paris, which was another very good football team, I felt that they could get it done. And sometimes I know schools are schools, but whenever you're a bigger classification against a smaller classification, in that fourth quarter, that's usually when it really is telling. And I just thought Chapel Hill was going to be the bigger, stronger team whenever it mattered most at the end, and that's kind of how it turned out.
Yeah, and you think about it, if you went to the game or recapped it, of course, Tatum drove down the field and was on goal line when they fumbled the ball. And luckily Chapel Hill recovered it for the win. So very close game, very good game. They do have a bye week this week, and they start district next week. But another big game last week was John Tyler at White House. We caught up with Coach Holmes before the game to talk about how White House has put up about 50 points per game almost. And let's see what he had to say about that and his defense.
Hey, East Texas, Bill Cam with ETFinalScore.com here with Coach Holmes, John Tyler. Coach, I read in the paper today you talked about after a loss like you guys took from Lee, the bye week would be a good opportunity to kind of reflect on the mistakes made and to work on that. What coming out of the bye week now, what do you see are some things that you guys need to avoid doing tonight against White House?
Well, first of all, we got to avoid missing tackles. That killed us the last game. But then the first 2 games, we just got to make sure we protect the ball like we did the last game. No fumbles, make sure we cause turnovers. We got back to that this week. We got back to that last week, and the kids understand why we lost, and they understand what they needed to do to win that game. So we went back to basically what we've been doing and staying that course.
So White House coming into this game averaging around 50 points a game. I mean, you see this like a shootout like you guys experienced for the bye week?
I'm a defensive coach, and I don't like a lot of scoring. My defense better toughen up because defense wins championship. Offense just sells tickets.
Well, John Tyler did hold White House to 17 points. The defense did look very strong. Now, you do cover John Tyler. How well did that defense and the offense look?
Yeah, really, for the defense, they were quite impressive. You know, they held that White House offense down. White House had been averaging over 500 yards a game, and to hold that White House down to just 2 touchdowns and a field goal kind of showed where the John Tyler defense is at. And it was down to the defensive line getting pressure on the quarterback, and also the secondary just shutting down the White House receivers.
Now, Chris, did you think that JT was going to come out on top as big as they did against White House?
I don't know if I thought as big as they did, but we talked last week, and I said it was going to come down to the defense because the defense had been, besides the second half, the third and fourth quarter against Robert E. Lee, John Tyler's defense has been very, very good. And it showed. It showed. They went and won a ball game that I think that they felt they were going to win. And now they've taken that first step because Ennis, Lufkin, and now we know Ennis Nacogdoches are waiting in the wings.
And do you think that bye week helped them quite a bit to kind of get back on their feet after that loss against Lee?
Yeah, I think so. You know, they were pretty down after the Lee loss. They thought they kind of let that slip through their hands. They felt like they should have won that game. But, you know, they used that as motivation to make sure they beat White House, and, you know, they put them away pretty early.
And we'll have a little more about JT coming a little later in the show. Let's switch gears over to the Red Raiders. They played the Rowlett Eagles last week. Now, Chris, they got the lead with a little less than 4 minutes left to go in the game. What happened in those last 4 minutes of that game?
I think that it was kind of, you work so hard to climb the mountain, and then you get to the top. I mean, they were down by a sizable margin at halftime, and they got to the top. But that means you keep, in order to finish the job, your defense has to keep pitching a shutout. Eventually, you're going to finally bend a little bit, and they gave up 2 touchdowns late. Lee, they gave a touchdown. Lee came back to take the lead. They missed the extra point, which meant now you knew that things were going to be difficult because Rowlett had a good kicker. So and the way the return game had been going, Lee had been giving I've almost been giving with pooch kicks, giving Rowlett pretty good starting field position. So the defense had no room for error whatsoever. But give Rowlett credit. I mean, they converted 4 third downs. You know, one was a 3rd and 11. And then those are the things. And the defense couldn't hold them. They just couldn't hold them on that final drive. I think at the end, you were starting to think, well, maybe should Lee try to let them score to try to get the ball back. But then how Coach Piskey said, kind of communication, they weren't quite sure, and then before you know it, these teams are going so fast now. Rowlett was going so fast as soon as they'd snapped the ball that they didn't have a chance unless they wanted to take another timeout to decide whether they want to let them score or not. They just didn't have a chance, and I thought that Rowlett did a good job of just keeping its foot on the gas whenever it had a chance to win the game at the end, and they only gave at least 6 seconds to try to come back.
Oh, well, last weck you did talk about how Rowlett is kind of focused a lot on defense. And a lot of people are wondering how Zach Hall played that game because a lot of people couldn't make that game. How'd that pan out with the defense and Zach Hall being a scrambling quarterback?
I thought Zach played well. I thought Rowlett was one of the best single tackling teams I've seen this season. What I mean by that is there were no 5 people get to the ball and bring the ball carrier down. There was a lot of one-on-one situations, and Rowlett brought you down. So, in other words, if you got by this guy, it was going to be a long game, 35, 40, 45, maybe even a touchdown. But he brought you down, and now it's only a 5-yard gain. And then on the converse side, when we talk, that's the same thing that happened to Lee. Right now, teams are going to look at that film and go, okay, if we can get Robert E. Lee into one-on-one situations where our guy has to only make one move, Lee gave up 4 passes. 2 of them for touchdowns. I think every one of them went over 25 yards. And basically all it was spread them out. So the safety can't. The safety has to play somebody because you're so spread out. And our guy is going to beat your guy, and he's going to try to. He's going to score. So I think that I guarantee you, this bye week they are working on tackling.
Now, speaking of bye week, a lot of schedules and a lot of other things say that Lee does play this Friday. Good thing we have Chris here, the insider. Are they playing here, or what's up with that situation?
Well, unless Coach Piskey has kept it from me, no, they're not playing. They have this week off. I think they're in the beginning. There were so many changes with the schedule because Lee didn't want to play so many Thursday games. Then they had, I think they were talked about maybe playing this Saturday. But then both teams agreed that, hey, we can play next Friday at Williams Stadium again. Oh no, excuse me, Homer B. Johnson Stadium again. So now they're going to go play. They're going to play next Friday, and they have this as their bye week.
Well, there you have it. Lee does have a bye week this week. Now let's head to one of our sponsors. When we return, we're going to toss around some of the upcoming games as well, and then also preview some of the TAP schools.
At Kelly Community Federal Credit Union, we have a monopoly on savings. So cruise on over to a Kelly Community branch today for big savings on loan rates and better earnings on deposits and investments.
At Kelly Community.
Welcome back to the ETFinalScore.com preview show. We're bringing you some of the inside of what the upcoming Friday night games are going to bring. I'm Trevor Peel alongside Travis Yosting, Chris Perry. Now we're going to throw a little speed round out there to TAP schools. Some of the ones that we'll be bringing some live coverage tonight with highlights. Now first one, we got Frisco Legacy at All Saints.
All Saints is coming off a big win, their first district win in over 2 years. They're going to go up against a tough Frisco Legacy team that is going to be eager to get on the board after Grace took them down in the first week.
What do you think about that one?
I think that All Saints surprised a lot of people. I mean, whenever you haven't played a district game in for so long, and to go on the road and to get a result, that was a terrific result for the Trojans.
Now we got Prince of Peace at Gorman.
Gorman is kind of the high-powered offense. The team is putting up the points, and Prince of Peace is coming off a loss themselves. So we'll see if Gorman can keep it rolling.
It's homecoming for Gorman. It's always a big deal over there, and they're going to be amped up, and they're going to want to put up some points and maybe do one better than All Saints did against them.
Now what about Dallas Christian at Grace?
That's going to be a huge matchup. Dallas Christian coming off a loss, so you don't say that much during district play for them, and Grace is going to be a tough battle for them to keep that Dallas Christian quarterback, Preston Nix, keep him down. And if they can slow him down and keep some long drives going, I think they have a chance.
We got, in the last one, Dallas Shelton at Brook Hill.
Yeah, because Brook Hill threw a wrench into the mix. Dallas Christian usually wins out, and everyone else battles for second, third, and fourth. Well, now there's a legitimate chance for someone to win district with Dallas Christian suffering their first loss. Dallas Shelton is a team that I think Brook Hill should really handle. I mean, handle rather easily. I'd say that they're the team that's probably, they're the weakest team in the district. And I believe that Brook Hill's going to try to get the victory, not come off that big win and have a letdown. Is basically, I think, Coach Brasher and his team's biggest focus this week.
In those 4 TAP schools, those 8, but the 4 games, we will have coverage on our Twitter and Facebook of highlights from those games. Now let's move along over to JT. John Tyler will be playing Lindale in their second district game this week. Now, after coming off a great win by JT, will this be much of a matchup of them playing Lindale?
Definitely, because it's Lindale, and Lindale is never going to give up easy. They're going to fight hard no matter who they're playing, but especially when they're playing John Tyler. And they've only met twice before. John Tyler getting the best of them first 2 times, but when you've got 2 rivals that close, it's going to be a dogfight the whole way.
Yeah, what do you have to weigh in on the JT Lindale game?
Lindale can't make any mistakes at all. I mean, they really can't, because John Tyler has shown that if you make anything, interceptions, like what White House did, they're going to capitalize, and they're not just going to capitalize; they're going to score on those plays. And I think that's what's kind of hurt Lindale in some of these games recently is just mistakes. So they're going to have to play a perfect game. But they said that's why they play the games. We'll see if Lindale can pull off the upset.
Yeah, it's something to look out for. Now, for both of you, real quick, a lot of teams this week are on bye week. We have the least amount of games on our scoreboard at 21 now that we've taken one off that was on there. But we have the least amount that we have all year long. Now, a lot of these teams going into their bye week, who do y'all think is emerging right now as a top leader heading into some of their district play or in their district play?
I think you got to look at Gladewater. Beating Kilgore last week, the way they did it. with the talent they have on that team, I think they're definitely a team to watch.
You got anybody?
And I'm so impressed with Nacogdoches, with the teams that they've played and going on the road and beating Hallsville and beating Lufkin and just taking care of the job. I think Nacogdoches is going to give John Tyler and Ennis a very. There's going to be. I think those are the three teams I think right now in that district. They're going to have to fight it out to decide who wins it all.
Can't forget about Lufkin.
Yeah, I do. I don't know. I like Lufkin, but I think Nacogdoches exposed them, and I think John Tyler. And of course, I've seen Lufkin, and Lufkin was good, but Lee was still trying to find itself when they played him. And I think John Tyler's going to be better than Lee was when they played him. And Ennis is Ennis. So I don't. Right now, I think it's. I'll call it. I think it's Nacogdoches against John Tyler to decide who wins the district.
Yeah, it could be one of those years where the winner of the district doesn't go undefeated in league play.
That's something to look out for. Another week is in the books for us on the ET Final Score preview show. Thanks for your time, guys. As we wrap up, I want to remind you viewers that if you are on the go tonight and can't make it to any games, we got you covered. We will be posting all night live highlights of multiple games around East Texas, thanks to Kelly Community Federal Credit Union. We also have the most up-to-date scoreboard in East Texas, as well as the only halftime show available for you. Not only on social media, but you can have it in the palm of your hand by downloading the ET Final Score app. With district play beginning, you're going to want that scoreboard just 2 clicks away. Enjoy your Friday night football this week. We'll see you next time.